So why did the Revolutionary War start? Once upon a time there was a country named Great Britain. In Great Britain there were lots of people. One day some soldiers found a new land, and a few people wanted to go live there. They sailed across the sea and built a home there. They were called colonists. The colonists raised their kids there. Some of the colonists live in a town called Boston. The people in charge of Great Britain didn't like that the colonists were living alone in a new land, so they sent soldiers there. The soldiers were called Redcoats. The colonists and the Redcoats didn't get along very well. One day, a few naughty teenage boys were making fun of a redcoat. They were calling him names and throwing snowballs at him. A crowd of people came and watched, and some joined in. The redcoats shouted, "Back up, back up!" More soldiers came. More adults started joining in and yelling at the redcoats. The redcoats started threatening to shoot. Then someone yelled fire, most likely as a challenge. The British started shooting in the crowd, and they killed 5 people. The captain quickly told the soldiers to stop shooting. The colonists called this event the Boston Massacre. After the Boston Massacre, there was lots of tension between the colonists and the redcoats. The colonists used propaganda, which is like making things seem worse than they are, to get more colonists to dislike the redcoats. The British used propaganda to make other British people dislike the colonists. After the Boston Massacre, the British put more taxes on the colonists. This time they had to pay for anything that came by boats. The colonists got mad and started to attack the British people that lived with the colonists. The people in charge in Britain finally removed all of the tax laws, except the ones on tea. But the people in charge did let one tea company sell their tea for less money than the rest of the companies. The colonists didn't like this tea, though, so they got mad again. One day, 3 ships full of tea came to the town. The colonists didn't like the tea, so they refused to unload it. They asked the governor of Boston if they could send the ships back, and he said no. The colonists didn't want to pay taxes on the tea, so they made a plan. Their plan was to dress up as local Indians called Mohawk Indians. They would sneak onto the boats and get rid of the tea. On the night of December 16th, they did just as they had planned. They snuck onto the boats, opened the crates of tea, and started to throw the tea off the boats. There was a big crowd of colonists and redcoats on the shore watching the men work, but no one tried to stop them. They just watched as a group of men threw the tea off the boats. So the British soldiers thinking, "What are they doing?" And the colonists are chanting on the streets, "The Boston Harbor is a teapot tonight." The people in charge back in Britain weren't happy about the Boston Tea Party, so they put mean laws on the colonists. One of the laws made the colonists let British soldiers stay in their houses. You can see the British soldier in the doorway and the colonists in the window right there. The colonists didn't like the new laws, so people from each of the colonies got together to talk about what they should do about them. This was the First Continental Congress. So these are 2 people from one of the colonies. And that's the end of my story.